Hello, this is Garrett from macetech.com, and in this video I'm going to demonstrate how to wire up and program the Elbow EL wire sequencer, which is an easily programmable sequencer for electroluminescent wire. I'm going to start by connecting up my 12-volt power supply and making sure the Elbow sequencer is working and that the LEDs are sequencing. Alright, the Elbow sequencer is working, and I'm going to go ahead and connect up the high voltage input. With the high voltage input connected, I'm going to go ahead and connect all of the EL wire pigtail wires. The high voltage is coming from this EL wire inverter, which has a clip in the back of this project. Okay, with the high voltage connected, the EL wires connected, and the 12-volt power supply connected, once I apply power, we should see sequencing on the EL wires. Now I'm going to demonstrate the control of the Elbow sequencer. The first control is speed. So by pressing this button repeatedly, I can get it to speed up. And by pressing this button repeatedly, I can get it to slow down. Next is channel select. Each of these buttons, or pattern select, each of these buttons corresponds to a possible pattern that can be selected to run on the Elbow sequencer. So if I press this button, we get this pattern, or this one, or just blinking, or a chase pattern, or a fill pattern. Now these are all just programmed into EEPROM on the Elbow sequencer. So these can all be edited live, which I'll show in a little bit. But by pressing the channel button again, once you've selected a pattern, you can get it to do other things. In this case, I have it running backwards. In this case, I have it running the pattern forward and then backwards. And all these settings are saved in EEPROM after you change them. So once you set this up, choose a pattern, choose a speed, and turn it off, when you turn it back on again, it'll be running the same pattern at the same speed. So now I'm going to demonstrate how to edit the patterns on the Elbow sequencer. This can be done without connecting it to a computer. You can just edit them on the device itself. So I've selected pattern 1, which I'm now going to edit by holding down that channels button, or that patterns button. We have a blinking LED here indicating that we're now in programming mode. And programs are just a string of frames, each containing a state of all 6 output channels. So by using the speed buttons, I can now advance step by step through these frames. And this fast blink indicates that I've hit an end of pattern marker. And that's the point where the pattern will run up to and then loop around or reverse course depending on what mode you have selected. So you can have more frames, but in this particular setup it'll only run up to this last 6th frame here. So a very simple edit would be to set a pattern marker here. You can do that by holding down the two buttons until you get a fast blink showing that the pattern marker has been set at that location. So just hold this button, hold the channel button down again to exit program mode. You can see that it's only going through those three first channels. I'll turn off the light so you can see it on the EL wire. Next, I'll show you how to edit a program, not just change where the program starts and stops. So we can go back into program mode. So we're at the first frame. Let's say I'm going to do, I'll set the pattern marker to the sixth frame as it was before. Alright, pattern marker is set there. And let's just say I want it to go up like that, and then from this point on I want to have all the LEDs stay on. So what I'll do is I'll move to this frame, and then you can turn an LED on by pressing its corresponding channel button. So now I have that channel on. I'll go to the next frame and then turn these two on, and go to the next frame and then turn these 4 LEDs on. So I can step through the pattern to make sure it's what I want. Go next, 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 next. And that's what I want. So I'll hold this button down again, and it's playing back that pattern. And again, this is a pattern I created, and I can run it forwards as it is now. Press the button again, it'll run backwards, or let it bounce. And that's all there is to setting up a new sequence on the elbow sequencer. One thing to remember is that these channels have different numbers of frames. The first two have 8, the next two have 16, and the last two have 32. So with 32 frames you could set up a quite complex sequence. But 8 is good just for a simple chase pattern, and then 16 would be like for a chase and then something else happening after that. So let's see this on the EL wire itself again. Speed it up. Change the playback mode. Slow it way down. So I hope that was informative, and definitely feel free to ask any questions, send us an email, or comment on this video if you have any questions about the elbow sequencer.